Week 10 in fantasy basketball. Welcome back to the playlist. We had fights, we had trades. It's been a crazy week in fantasy basketball, but first and foremost, want to wish everyone a happy holiday and an early happy new year as well. Let's get to my pickups. First pickup's got to be Spencer Dinwiddie. Luka Doncic is set to miss at least a month with a calf injury, and Spencer Dinwiddie's filled in great for Luka Doncic in the interim. He's averaging over 17 points, 4 boards, and 6 dimes in relief of Luka Doncic. So at under 40% rostered, you need to add him in all leagues. Next, you got to pick up Scottie Pippen Jr. Ja Morant is day-to-day with a shoulder injury, and Scottie Pippen Jr. has been one of the best backups in fantasy basketball this year, averaging 15 points, 5 boards, and 6 dimes. Without Ja Morant on the court, this guy is a two-way player, can get you a lot of steals as well. Make sure you don't sleep on him. And then lastly, at under 30% rostered, got to add Scoot Henderson. I know he's inefficient, prefer him in points leagues, but right now, over the last 7 days, Scoot Henderson has been a top 50 player. He's averaging 17 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 dimes. More importantly, he's getting stocks and he's hitting threes. Both rarities for Scoot Henderson, so make sure you pick him up while he's still hot. Let's get to the schedule things you need to know. All right, let's talk some strategy and how you're going to manage your week. Week 10 is very good for streaming purposes. You can actually stream on every day because we don't have any day or any slate that exceeds 9 games, which has been pretty rare over the last couple of weeks, and we have games every day of the week. So if we're looking at the schedule, I'm liking the teams that are playing 4 games. That's the 76ers, the Nuggets, the Lakers, and the Knicks. Early in the week, try to snag guys like Peyton Watson because Aaron Gordon's going to be missing at least the next couple of games, as well as Derrick Jones Jr., a guy that's going to be playing 3 games in 4 nights, which is a huge advantage for you in fantasy. You know he's going to get some rebounds. He's also going to get some stocks and some threes. While we wait for Kawhi Leonard to return, this is going to be a good pickup for fantasy managers. And later in the week, take a look at Dalton Knecht. Now that there's going to be some movement on the Lakers, he's been playing very well. He could be that primary option off the bench with D'Angelo Russell now back on the Brooklyn Nets. And look at Luguentz Dort as well, because even though he hasn't been playing particularly well coming off of that ankle injury, the Thunder do have 3 games and 4 nights to close out from Thursday to Sunday. So definitely can get a little scheduling advantage by rostering those guys, and all those teams play 4 games in week 10. Teams you'll want to avoid: Phoenix Suns, the only team that plays 2 games in week 10. But the good thing about the Suns is that if you're looking ahead to week 11, they actually are the only team that plays 5 games in week 11. So you'll want to pay attention to that. If you have any extra transactions left over from week 10, maybe you want to pick up Royce O'Neal, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. They've been in and out of the lineup with respective injuries. So Royce O'Neal, regardless of the situation, has been a guy that's been pretty valuable in 12-team leagues, points or 9 categories. So if he's on waivers because of his recent injury, make sure you pick him up at the end of the week if you have the roster space available. All right, let's get to what I alluded to before, trade season. All right, let's talk about the trade that went down on Sunday. D'Angelo Russell, along with Maxwell Lewis and 3 second-round picks, went to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for Dorian Finney Smith and Shake Milton. I think this is a better real-life move than it is for fantasy. I think that D'Angelo Russell right now is the biggest beneficiary of this trade because he goes from a bench role in the Lakers to a starting spot with the Brooklyn Nets, an organization he has a lot of familiarity with. He was an all-star there at one point. So him stepping into a starting role, I think we could see an uptick in his usage as well as his playmaking. Now, Cam Johnson is also on the trade block, so who knows what other moves the Brooklyn Nets are planning to make. But it looks like a really good situation for D'Angelo Russell to kind of regain his fantasy stock. I'm not worried about Cam Thomas. I think he's still pretty secure with his fantasy value. Keep an eye on where the minutes go for Dorian Finney-Smith. This is a guy that was a starting forward for the Brooklyn Nets, so let's see who kind of emerges there. It could be Noah Clowney, but keep an eye on it. On the Lakers side, I'm definitely curious about how this rotation is going to work. Rui Hachimura was the starting power forward. Knowing how much JJ Redick really likes Dorian Finney-Smith and what he brings from a versatility perspective on the defensive end, he can also shoot over 40% from 3. This is a guy that really helps this perimeter defense for the Lakers. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dorian Finney-Smith eats into Rui Hachimura's opportunity size a little bit here. But then also take a look at Dalton Knecht, because I think now with D'Angelo Russell gone, there could be an opportunity for Dalton Knecht to really thrive as the primary option off the bench. So some things to look at there. I think there's definitely more value in D'Angelo Russell going to Brooklyn than there is Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton trying to succeed from a fantasy perspective in LA. But it's a good trade for both sides. That'll do it for the Week 10 playlist. I'll see y'all in Week 11. Peace.